Hey everybody, it's Strict9 with Strict9 GP, and I'm back with another episode of my Out of the Park 22 playthrough with the Giants. So we finished the 2024 playoffs and the awards. I'll give a recap of those to start the episode. And we are just now at the free agent signing period. So I'm hoping to go through some strategy here in this episode and maybe make some offers. But one of the things that happens with this game sometimes, it's like you just feel like everything's against you. When you need those free agents and you have the money, sometimes they're not there. When you get the high draft picks, sometimes the talent level is not what it has been in previous seasons. Those kind of things, and so I'm struggling right now because we got money to play around with. We've got holes to fill. I think we got a plan to put in this team on the winning track, and there's just not very much available. In regards to pitching, for instance, one of the worst free agent classes I guess I've seen in this game in a while. But I'll go through and we'll see what we have available, and maybe you guys can give me some suggestions offline. But let's take a look first off with the playoffs. I think that's going to be under history here. And once again, Atlanta won the World Series. That's the second year in a row in this playthrough. They beat the Twins 4-2. Didn't really have a tough challenge. None of their series went the distance. Spoiler, MVP went to Acuna again. They're just a solid team right now. Maybe kind of at least one of the best teams in that National League for a while with some of the talent they put together. If we look at some of the awards, it was another shutout for the Giants. We didn't get any awards. Looking at the big ones like Relievers of the Year, for instance, Darwinson, Hernandez of the Twins, maybe a reason they were successful. They had a couple guys show up in the voting there. Graterol won for the Dodgers with a few guys here at the top getting some votes. One of the things I see with this version of Out of the Park that I maybe didn't see in previous versions, it's not always saves that lead to who gets these awards or who determines it. So in the case of Graterol, he just had good numbers. I mean, he wasn't their closer, but he had a low ERA, WHIP was low, and then that high wins above replacement. I think that's pretty much the top determinant when it comes to that award, or many of these awards really. But it's always kind of a surprise to see who gets selected for that one, for the relievers. Rookies went to, don't know how to say this guy's name, Keone Cavaco. A weak class, really, in the American League for rookies, and he got almost every vote. I mean, he was almost unanimous. And the guy played just over half a season, hit 227. Not a very, just not really stellar numbers there. And, sometimes, again, that happens with this game. You'll go through these cycles. It happens, different playthroughs, which I find it's kind of neat to do, but or to see that, because every game you play through is different. Every franchise you take over and playthrough you go through is usually different. Carrying on with the awards, Cantu won it in the National League. This guy is like a 29-year-old rookie. His first full year, hit 29 home runs, 250 average, almost 4 wins above replacement. Good guy, and it's hard to believe this guy is the cream of the crop for young prospects in the National League. One kind of positive, Ben Abram got some votes for us. He actually got 4 first place votes, wound up 3rd overall. Cy Young went to Giolito in the American League. His first time winning it in this playthrough. He led the league in wins, strikeouts, wins above replacement. Don't know how far he was in ERA, but almost a Triple Crown season for him. Cy Young went to Mitch Keller for Pittsburgh. He had a solid year, led in ERA and strikeouts and wins above replacement. So he's really developing pretty well in this playthrough. Again, Abram got some votes here. He was fourth. MVP, Vladimir Guerrero, in a tight race in the American League. Several guys got first place votes. I don't know. I think I would have gone with Verdugo on this one. He led in average and wins above replacement. A good overall stat lines from him. And the National League, Acuna, again, first, and he was unanimous. I think that's pretty obvious. Over 10 in wins above replacement. That's rare. We did get some votes here for, where did I see him? Rafael Devers. Pretty low, but, at least we're getting some notice for somebody on the team. And in terms of, I guess the next thing to go through would be arbitration. I really got rid of quite a few, just some of those low-rated pitchers, for instance. I got rid of them. I kept Schmidt, which I think is a good deal there, $1 million. He's in that starting rotation, may stay there. I just don't think he's developing. That's the only negative I'm seeing here. I still think he's got 4 solid pitches, good movement, but he's just not developing. I think at his peak he could probably be like a mid-rotation type starter, but he hasn't gotten there. I think the biggest surprise was I did hang on to Gonsolin because he's versatile. He doesn't have a lot of stamina, but he can start. I think he's better in the bullpen. He had a solid year for us. 10 wins overall, sub-3 ERA, 2 plus, 2.5 plus wins above replacement. I didn't expect him to go quite that high, but I'll live with it. I'm still thinking he's going to be valuable for us next year. May not see him as much in the starting rotation. If I look at his splits real quick, the thing about him in the starting as a starter is just, you're not going to see many innings out of him. He averaged just under 5 innings a start, even though his numbers are pretty good. I like my starters to be able to go, on average 6 innings if they can. I know it's a new ball game. I don't think we have the bullpen yet to feel confident throwing out some guys there who are going to occasionally give you plus 5 innings, but hover on the downside of that 5-inning average. So that's why I primarily want him in the bullpen. But again, he's valuable. He can start if he needs to. So where that leaves us in terms of money is still really good. $100 million for extensions because we got some guys going off next season, but just under $80 million in free agency. We have the money to throw out there again. The question is the talent going to be there? I got some suggestions from my viewers, guys who've been pretty consistent with suggestions. One of the things was what to do with the catchers, because I felt like, I got 2 guys here, and Bailey and, spoiler, I kept Bailey, but there was Bailey and then Joey Bart. Now, Bart had great leadership, but I tell you, for me, of the 2 of them, they're almost a wash, really. I do feel, though, and this is just, just my intuition, I guess, my feeling. I think Bailey is a little bit better offensively. I think he's balanced, lefty and righty, pretty good. He does have a high eye and discipline. Defensively, they're a wash, and really, they're both rated highly in personality. So, trading one away, you're going to take a hit regardless of which one you trade. And I like the fact that Bailey's just 25, so we got more upside on him. And one of the things that I feel like I needed going into this offseason, for me, I think it's really 3 things. I needed another solid starting pitcher, at least one more to round out that rotation. I need some more right-handed bats that fit that profile we've been talking about, high eye, high power. And I need a closer because Elledge, he bombed out at the end of the year, and we lost Priestley, I think it was Presley. I forget the guy's name now, but he voided his contract and went to free agency. So I shot Bart around, and I really didn't get anybody who fit the mode offensively, which was surprising. It was mostly just some subpar middle relievers, bench type offensive players who didn't, maybe low contact, but also low eye, low power. So I thought I was able to find a potential closer, at least for the next couple years, in this guy. And he's another fan favorite. He's got 3 solid pitches. He's been the closer at Detroit for a couple seasons. He was traded to Pittsburgh last year and didn't do too well for him there, although, those numbers are deceptive. He had a high ERA, but his FIP was low. He's 4 stars from My Scout, 4.5 from OSA. Both guys feel like he's going to hold a key spot in the rotation or in the bullpen, and I think he's got that makeup of a closer. So I'm going to go with him in that role for now, and move on and hope we make some trades or some other signings of free agency that'll fit the rest of those components I'm looking for. And that was really one of the things too. I made that trade going through arbitration because I needed to decide what to do with Bart, whether I wanted to offer him a fairly high amount in arbitration or trade him away. And I really kind of hoped that when we get to free agency that there would be some guys out there. There wasn't. And so, at least I got something of value, I think, for him, but it has left me still needing to fill up some key holes here. And, like I'm been discovering the last couple seasons, I think I'm developing in Abram, a guy who I can really, I think, front a rotation. 5 well above average pitches, great movement. Stuff is still developing at 24, 25 years old. So I just need to hope that he continues to develop, and then, get some guys up here who are going to be mid-rotation type starters. It's not going to take a whole lot, I think, to have some success in that starting rotation. If you look at the stats from last year, I think I highlighted it. Now, this is with everybody gone. There was nobody on the team in the staff with a negative wins above replacement, for instance. Good numbers, I think, up and down the line. Even Santos, who really just had good overall numbers in that rotation, and Abram and Schmidt. I don't think it's too difficult to build a good rotation here, but there are some things that are happening with the rotation that lead me to realize I got to make some changes. And the big one is with Clevenger, who is still signed for one more season. Thankfully, it's not a whole lot of money because I don't know where this guy's going to wind up. He definitely had a setback last year. He got injured, and he just couldn't put it together. Coming off a solid 2023, 200 plus strikeouts, 4 wins above replacement. He really struggled last year. He struggled even worse, I think, down the stretch. August, September, October, he was really bad, and it showed up in his ratings when they finally updated after the season. He's now a 2-star starting pitcher. His pitches, 4 above average pitches, they still look good, but his basic pitching ratings have taken a dive, and that's from me and My Scout and OSA. As a reliever, could I put him in maybe as long relief? I don't know that I'm going to get much value there. The only thing that really improves when I move him over to relief is his stuff rates a little bit higher. So I need to find a replacement for this guy in that rotation for sure. And what I'm seeing coming up now, I went through and fixed all my minor leagues here. I moved up, promoted the guys I think were ready to promote to the next level. So what I'm seeing here in AAA is Brody Westbrook's 2 stars with a 4-star potential. This guy looked great in limited time there because he was injured at high A last year. I'm definitely going to take a look at him in spring. I think he might almost be ready to go. He's the 16th rated prospect in the league right now. OSA likes him a little bit better. That stuff rating is really looking good. I think with the potential this guy has, the only thing that kind of bothers me is his stamina. But I think, giving him a look in spring will hopefully help some of his development. I think this guy might fit into that rotation as early as next year. And so that would leave me with Abram, Santos, Schmidt, who I'm pretty sold on. I moved Frisbee over to the starting rotation just to see what his ratings look like because he looked great in relief last year as well. He might put up numbers similar to Santos over a full year. But I would still rather have some security, I guess, in that starting rotation. But I do think I've got the potential to right now have 4 guys in the rotation. I just need to pick up one more. The bullpen, we got Elledge. I think he's going to fit better in that setup role. He wants to be a starter. He doesn't have the stamina for it. But then we got guys, like Gonsolin. Colton Hawk is somebody who I picked up, I think in the waiver wire or maybe a trade, a minor trade last year. I'm wanting to give him some look. But, and Smith coming back, second year of his 3-year deal. He looked great last year. He was one of the better relievers overall on the team. So maybe one more piece there, and if I don't get it in free agency, I may be able to find something in the Rule 5 draft. We do have some guys here, in like Casey Schmidt, who might be ready to move up. Sonny Vargas, who I took a look at late last season. He didn't look as good, but he's had some good stops in the minors. He's got 3.5 potential from OSA. He's got a great fastball, but, I've talked about this a lot. Unless their stuff is just, and when I say stuff, their ratings up here, unless those 3 ratings are above average, in some cases well above average, a 2-pitch pitcher struggles in this game, with the ratings the way they are. So I usually like to have, for guys who are kind of in that mid-range, like 3, maybe even 4-star overall, I like to have guys with 3 pitches. But, we'll give him more look in spring. He might help flesh out that rotation. I'm going with 13, or not rotation, the staff. I like to go with 13 pitchers overall. I think I've got 11 here, so just need to pick up 2 more. And again, I'm thinking, we're going to have potentially 2 already from AAA, but I want to see if I can find somebody in free agency. Now, the other thing, when I look at the lineups and the bats that we have, another good suggestion, I mentioned it at the end of last episode, Luciano's value may be pretty high right now. I'm going to shop him because I think he's being wasted at first. And I think I'm going to be committed to Devers a little bit longer. I'm going to take a look at that and show you why. And so, this guy might have some good value, and it scares me that his injury proneness already at 23 years old is fragile. I don't know if he's coming off a full season, but I don't know if that's going to start translating into just multiple stints on that IL. And so, I'm going to see what I can get for him. I haven't done that yet, so it's going to be, we're both going to find out together if he's got any value. But OSA seems to think he's about where my scout is, maybe a little bit less. So my scout definitely thinks more of him. That might be the negative to see what he's worth, but we'll shop him around. And then another thing is I really feel like shortstop is a struggle right now. We lost, we didn't lose, but Anderson Simmons lost a lot in terms of his value offensively. His numbers maybe didn't show it. I mean, I guess you can live with that. It's pretty weak, though. I mean, 75 ops plus is not what I want to look at in a position player. And his defense, it's above average. I mean, if you look at his zone rating and efficiency and those kind of things, I think, that zone rating may have been top 5 in the league last year, or even higher, maybe in top 3. But I don't think Arteaga's ready, but this is the guy I think is going to be our future at shortstop. I just don't know if he's ready to be a starter next year. I'd like to find something in free agency or trades for a shortstop, and then we gotta solve this left field situation. It wasn't Hunter Bishop. He's another guy I'm going to try to shop around again. It's just, for whatever reason, and I think the biggest reason is that park, it's just not translating when he gets up here. He has looked good at every stop in the minors. He is rated the same from OSA, though they haven't really scouted him too much as my scout has him. I would like to think he's got some value. He may be somebody I shop around and pick up that last bullpen piece I'm looking for. But outside of that, I don't really have a whole lot of trade value. Unless I really want to go down here and start, looking at maybe lower minors and giving up some prospects. But I'd rather not go that route yet. But let's just get started and see what we can find. First thing I want to look at, though, is the free agents that are out there. So let's start with pitching. That's what I need to start, I think, in terms of priority, is get that starting pitcher going. And this is what we're up against. So we've got 6 guys here, 3-star and above. And we've got our old guy Barrios out there. That's really slim pickings. Again, not what you want to see. On the trading side, now this will change once I think we get to the winter meetings, but there's only one guy out there, Carlos Carrasco, who has a high contract. He's at the end of his contract, hopefully, yeah. But I think he's starting to wind down a little bit. I think he could be valuable for us, but the injury proneness is too high. I mean, wrecked. He's almost guaranteed to spend time on IL next year. So it's really looking tough here. I mean, if I go out, it's so tough too that one of the things that you'll find when you get to this level where you've got free agents that are so slim, they're going to start demanding that money because that's how the market is. So for me, Barrios, coming off a subpar year last year, after a decent year for us in San Francisco, and what made it decent, though, is the fact that we got 10 wins out of him and good numbers across the board. And just a 1 wins above replacement, though. And, his FIP was way high. We got those numbers for him because he was pitching in San Francisco. And he was a good value because it was like, I think the contract was something like $1.2 million, something like that. It was $1.4 million. Now he's wanting $12 million for 3 years. I don't think he's worth that at this point. And he's borderline, which is another thing that scares me because he doesn't fit the mold that I like to look at in a starting pitcher, which is you got to have 3 above average pitches. He's only got 2. His stamina's good for what it's worth. And he has started his whole career, but he's not the one that I want to sink, $36 million into right now. But after him, there's nothing out there that really speaks to me except Rodriguez is probably overall, even though he's just a 3-star, he's probably the best one available. But he's coming off 3 years here with Houston where he didn't even start. So they signed him, I'm sure, to be a starter and then just put him in the bullpen. I think, ratings-wise, he's still got enough, especially against lefties, to go. But again, do you really want to give this guy the kind of money and length that he's looking for? I don't think so. So that leads to another interesting one in Aaron Nola, who is a fan favorite. Coming off really two pitiful years. He went free agency in 2023 and signed with Chicago and struggled. His ratings are not there either. I mean, 50-45, 50-45 for stuff and movement. I think he would be adequate here in San Francisco based on, like the amount of pitches he has and stamina. He doesn't look like he's too injury prone, but man, $12.5 million. I just don't think he's worth it either. So I got to decide really though if I want to give any of those guys a contract offer, and to me those are the three I would be looking at. Loaisiga, don't like that stamina. Corbin, his ratings are iffy at this point at 35. He's wanting, I think, a little bit too much more. So I feel like, I'm going to try Barrios first, and I'm going to try kind of a low ball considering where he's at. I'm going to go for $9 million and use that for all. And I will go at this point 3 years with that player option and just see what he thinks. And it's acceptable. So that may have been, I should have maybe worked around it, but you know what? I'll take him at $9 million at this point. We know what he can do when he's in San Francisco. So, and maybe it's a better team as far as that goes since then. Now, if I move on to the relievers, it's not a whole lot better, in all honesty. We got a couple guys here who want to be closers. Edwin Diaz, he fits that closer mold. I want to see if he hangs out there a little bit longer. And then we got a few guys here like Presley still out there. He's wanting a lot of money. He wants to be a closer. I want to see if he stays around for a little bit, if I can get him lower. But all these guys here, Devin Williams and above, they want to be the closer. I kind of like the closer I picked up in that trade. And some of these other guys, like Castillo, two-pitch pitcher, I don't want to pull the trigger on him just yet. So we're gonna give it a rest here on the relievers for now, and then we'll start looking at some batters, and this is where it gets even more depressing. So the type player we're looking for is high eye, high power, and ideally a right-handed bat. The only one who fits that mode to me, when I look through it, is Moncada here, but he's a third baseman, and he's wanting a lot of money. Now, he might almost be worth it, but I can't play him at third, and I don't want to put that much money into him. Just sit him over at first. One of the things that I am going to give an offer on, and it's crazy, I know, but you have to go all the way down here to find him. He is not rated very highly. He's a 2.5-star player. There's a lot of 2.5-star players out here. There's our old guy Tommy La Stella, who he's a lefty, but he fits that mold. But he's coming off such a great year at Pittsburgh. He's wanting a lot of money. But a guy that we have played before, where is he? I should have probably just put his name in. Austin Slater. I'm tempted to go with this guy as another utility guy, and kind of like I've got with Kiki Hernandez. I like his speed. I do like his eye and discipline. He bats better against left-handed pitchers. You look at the numbers that he put up for us when he was here. I mean, he was the starting left fielder my first season. Man, I would love to have those kind of numbers back at left field. 3.5 wins above replacement. He just tailed off a little bit too much for me in 2022, and I thought I had a good solution coming at left, so I didn't go with him. I'm going to see if I can sign him again, just so I can throw him out there. I don't think, 1.4, I mean, that's not even really enough to worry about. But, that's just kind of a throwaway. It's not going to really address what we need. to address. And I'm ignoring the guy at the top, obviously, in Bellinger. And he's going to go quick. I don't expect him to be out there. You guys can tell me what you think. I know overall this guy should be successful. You would think anywhere you play him. But man, if he's wanting that much money, and I don't think he's going to get $39 million, although look at this, look at this starting negotiations here. The thing that I just feel like, again, now that I'm deeper into this playthrough, I think there's a lot that you guys have given me feedback on, and just discovering this ballpark is a huge factor in this game. And if I look at his splits from last year against San Francisco, they're terrible. I mean, 235, his OPS is pretty good. Power is pretty good. But look at his road numbers against San Francisco. That's 10 games, 41 plate appearances, 34 at-bats. Not a large sample, but considering how often these two teams play, that's pretty good. About as good as you're going to get in head-to-head matchups. Dude's hitting 147. Ops of 646. I kind of think that's what in this ballpark you're going to see from him. I mean, that's over. Well, you're not going to see it to that level, but over the course of a season, it's going to be of the two splits here you're looking at. You look how great he was at home, hitting 324, 1.042 OPS. You look at those two splits. I think he's going to be closer to the road numbers than he is to the home numbers. So, paying him near $40 million for that kind of production, I think would be just really big waste. So if I look at who we've got in power and then who we have in eye, slim pickings. Again, Soler, defensively, he's kind of a liability. And, he's going to be low average at this point in his career. He's coming off a great 2023 at Texas, but he's low average, high strikeouts, and high home runs. Marcell Ozuna, this is of course the fantasy version of Marcell Ozuna. He's somebody who offensively I think might fit on this team. I don't like his defense all that much. But he's, again, maybe somebody you might, you guys can give me some suggestions on. If I look at his splits against San Francisco last year, I think it's a really small sample size for him. Just 6 games on the road. He didn't look too bad. So, I mean, this is a guy who I think would fit, honestly. And he may be going quicker than I would think. I don't want to go 5 years with him at his age, but man, and again too, he based on those numbers from last year, he must have had. Well, he didn't have any injuries. They just didn't put him in that starting lineup a lot. I guess that's how talented Atlanta was. But he is probably one of the better options we're looking at in free agency. Maybe Josh Bell might be somebody to revisit once we decide what we're going to do in terms of trades on our team. But, man, I'm not seeing a whole lot. Especially, if you go by the eye, looking for guys who are above average and right-handed, it's very slim until you get to a guy like Ozuna. We got, most of these guys are left-handed bats. Frazier, he's a liability in the field. I don't know where you could put him. Mark Canha, he's versatile in the outfield for the most part. He can play the corners, but, he's got a low contact. I think there's got to be some better options out there. So I'm gonna hold for now, and I'm probably gonna lose Ozuna, but I want to move ahead to the winter meetings and start seeing what's available for trades, because right now there's really nothing out there. And I didn't think about it, but I guess we're going to have to go through. Well, we don't have to go through that. I think I'll skip the Hall of Fame voting for now. I'll come back to that later offline. But let's just go ahead to the winter meetings. And there were a couple guys here I decided to DFA, Tristan Beck and Alexander Canario. I'm going to move those guys down to AAA. And that gave us a little bit of wiggle room, I guess, on the roster in terms of available slots. So Moncada already gone. He went to the Rangers actually for $23 million. Sandlin gone. Bellinger went to the Cubs. So the Cubs paying him $35.5 million for the first couple years. So I figured he's going to come down from that, but I just don't think he fits on this team. We got subpar international free agent there found, or amateur. Jordan Hicks signs with the Dodgers. A few minor trades. Caleb Ferguson, who I didn't really look at too closely, mainly because of his stamina. Well, maybe I did look at him. I can't remember now, but he's one of those guys who, you look at his career in this playthrough, he's never gotten to double digits in wins, although last 3 seasons he's putting up 116, 137, 150 innings. I think, what was that, 6 years? I mean, that's what, $17 million if I'm counting right. Close when you get to the last parts of the contract. Austin Slater, so he's okay. So Barrios is okay. So now some of those guys are still available in free agency. Let's take a look at the trading block. And we're going to take, Real Muto's out there. That's interesting. Defensively, this guy's still solid. This is his last year. That's interesting. I'm not going for him, but yeah, that's kind of interesting to see him out there. So we got, still looking at left field. David Dahl, J.D. Davis, both left-handed. Tommy Edman, he's another versatile player. I don't think he's going to give me much benefit over Hernandez at this point. Hazley's a guy who I like, and I've seen him do well in some other playthroughs. It's just, again, he's a left-handed bat. Doesn't struggle too much in the split. But, Morita must have been an international guy. Three stars with some power. Both sides of the plate. Good defender at left. Good speed. See if he's played San Francisco. Yeah, I mean, it's a small sample size, but I like to check that out now. It's just too small to really do much with. And be nice, I guess, if I kept the career splits up. I think I'm going to try to do that in a future playthrough. It's just not. It's not what I want to see. Now, all batters. Looking at J.D. Davis, who can play first. good against left-handed pitchers for sure. It's just, there's just not. I mean, Morita is one of the better ones I'm seeing out there. And, he's still in arbitration for what it's worth. There's also Rhys Hoskins. He's struggling with Philadelphia in this playthrough. So let me go ahead and do what we were talking about to start the episode. Let's see what kind of value Luciano's gonna have out there on the market. So starting out here, we got 3-star starter. We got some relievers here that would probably fit well with this team. Bryce Wilson's possibly a starter at some point. Jesse Franklin has yet to make the majors. Jordan Wicks, I mean, this guy's got great numbers. First year, well, he's been called up a couple times in Baltimore. 5-star potential, but that's rated as a reliever, and he's a left-handed pitcher. Let's stay focused. So we got Verdugo. He bats left. He has no hustle. His personality ratings seem like they're always like that. Some good relievers, but I don't want to throw him out there just for a reliever. Nick Senzel, another intriguing. His defense is not great, but man, look at the numbers he put up last year. And he's under contract for a couple years. Next year would be pretty high, but I don't, that doesn't scare me, man. His ratings are still great. I'd still, of course, want to go Miyazaki. In center because he's rated so well there. I mean, can Senzel, learn left? I mean, I would think with those outfield ratings that wouldn't be too difficult. But I really like his numbers, at least for my scout. I'll see if there's any splits for him against San Francisco. Wow, really good. And again, limited play. And on the road, not as good. But everybody, I guess, struggles there at San Francisco. So let's keep going, man. There's some great relievers that they're wanting to throw to me for Luciano. We got Kendall Burnett, 17th on the prospect ratings. I mean, this guy, he's got some time to develop. Garrett Mitchell. Spencer Torkelson, who could play left field, but his defense is a little bit below average. I mean, we know this guy's got power. And he's going to draw some walks. He's going to strike out a lot, but you can see 94 walks, 86. It's a possibility as well. Again, some just really good looking. I mean, his personality's not good, but some good looking relievers. Gavin Lux, first baseman, lefty bat though. Corbin Burns, wow. He would really be the starting pitcher, I think, to lead this staff. But Jose Ramirez. And a lot of this comes down to, whoa, man, there's some great pitchers they're willing to give me for him. But a lot of this comes down to money in some cases, although there's been some good prospects here. Alec Bohm, they're willing to give me him. he is also a good, he's not going to get the walks that Senzel will get. But boy, his ratings are really strong. His contract is generous. That's a really good contract for the level of player he is. He's coming off really in this playthrough, which started in 2021, 3 solid seasons. Last year wasn't as good for whatever reason, but his ratings are still strong. I mean, he's still rated as a premier first baseman. Boy, that's intriguing me too. Brian Hayes, these starters, man, it's almost too much because who do you go with? Oh, killing it. Great defensive outfielder. Whew. Julio Rodriguez, who for some reason is really getting a low contract here in Seattle. Randy Rosarina. I'm really kind of surprised the level of players I'm getting back for this guy. Luis Garcia, second base. I'm focused, I know, on that right-handed bat, and I'm giving up some good pitchers if I go the route I'm thinking about going, but I think I've got Bohm or Senzel, and I just like, again, this is, using these ratings primarily, and to some extent his performance. I mean, I think this guy could really give us the bat we're needing. And I think Senzel has played a little bit longer, and you don't have the time with him that we had with Bohm. But I'm going to look at him one more time. I mean, he's just 29. And he's coming off, a much better year. But with Senzel, I'd have to move him out of position. He wouldn't be playing center, at least not next year with Miyazaki, and he's only signed for 2 more years. You know what? I think I'm going to go with Bohm. I know, you guys will probably. There were so many good offers out there. It was hard to really say, but like I say, I'm just focused on getting these bats in here. So I'm going to go ahead and complete that. Overall fan interest decreases slightly, but then it increases slightly, so it's a wash. So that puts Bohm now at first for the next 4 years. I think that'll help us a little bit there, and I think honestly it's already, I don't know if Luciano develops a little bit more. I don't know if he's going to develop to the kind of player this guy is and has been last 3 seasons. So I pulled the trigger. So that means that now what are we going to do in that outfield? If we've got Profar, who started playing a little bit better towards the end of the season. I think he's set next year in right. We've got to hope Simeon stays healthy. He started playing a little bit better last year. So I'm still, I've still got some holes to fill, but I guess that's where it's going to stand right now. Now you guys can give me some suggestions again in the comments, what you think I should do. I guess the big thing is, should I really go for Ozuna? I mean, I'm just really debating that one. Because again, I think if I can get him for maybe 3 seasons, I'm not going to throw him 9 million out there, but I might. Let's just see what happens. I'm probably going to move ahead after I post. Well, you know what? I may take a break. I may stop right here, wait till I hear from you guys. But let me know what you think. We're eventually going to get this team moving in the right direction, I think. But as always, I appreciate your support and comments and likes, and I will see you next episode.